Okay, so this is our normal Tuesday night phone call for our new agents. This is December 6th. And I got a couple guests on the line with me tonight, so that way we can go over a couple different things that they're doing that's successful for them. One of them is actually a brand new agent, and he's going to help us out a little bit with some questions I have for him. So first off, this phone call is definitely for new agents. It's for agents that have issue paid less than 5 policies with us, okay? That also means and includes people who have just signed up with us, or they're not even signed up with us, and you guys are just interested in hearing what's going on with us. So first thing that I want to cover is a couple different areas where we get our leads from, okay? So Nick just helped us out with a new place called LeadCo. They're helping us out with some leads. And then if you want further information, just email me at matthew@rutledgeinsurancegroup.com if you want any more information on these different companies. But we also have a company called Mailco Leads that we also have historical leads from. So Mailco and LeadCo are 2 separate companies, but they are historical lead companies that we get different leads from. And then also Equus Financial is our main source that we like to get our leads from because they are generally exclusive to Equus, and then they also typically tend to be brand new leads, okay? Also, there's another lead company that we have some information on, and I'll get further details for you, like I said before, on them, and they're called Precise, okay? So definitely a couple different areas that we can get leads from, and if any of you have been with the company for a little while, Rob Jones, one of the owners, always says the more people you get in contact with and the more people you sit in front of, the better potential of you making money, right? So definitely I have a couple people on the line with us. I was very impressed a little earlier tonight just from finding out this information, one of them being Ellis, and I always mess her last name up, but I hope it's Zuloff.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So she's on the phone with us tonight, but what's more importantly important to know that has absolutely thrilled me is that she really only put forth about maybe a week to a week and a half's worth of effort in November. And the great part is that generally, if your math is like my math, is about 7 to 10 days at the most last month, and she submitted and issue paid $6,300. I think it was $6,384 of business last month. So the reason why I have Ellis talking with us is because, first of all, she's a female. Second of all, is I'm very interested in kind of digging into what Ellis's work ethic is, and really just trying to figure out what she does that kind of allows her to have such a high standard of ability to write business when she doesn't really work that often, right? She was actually sick for 2 weeks, I believe is what she said, and she had a trip that she went on, and then she also had some family over because it was Thanksgiving. So, I mean, really, she was busy last month, so there could have been a potential that she would have doubled that or even tripled that if, she had the potential of writing the full month. So, Ellis, when you came on board with us, what was it that you did right before you came on board with us?
Right before, I had nothing to do with sales. I worked in the foreclosed home industry as an account manager. But previously, before that, I was in the banking industry, so a little bit of sales and customer service through that.
Okay. So you still had some face-to-face action from doing that last job. Okay. So what would you say has been, because, well, tell us what your production and your business was like the first 2 weeks you were with us here at Equus.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 weeks was rough. At first I didn't.
If I remember right, you went on about probably 10 or 11 appointments and didn't write anything, right?
Yeah, and it was just because I didn't, once we did that one presentation from Eric Valdez showing the value, after that it just kind of all clicked. So at first, I had a slow start, but then just finding the value and what worked for me.
Right. Okay. So would you say that Eric Valdez's presentation was the only thing that helped you, or did it give you more confidence? Or
I think I needed the structure, I think, behind it, because he has all the information there. So just that structure, making sure that I'm consistently covering the proper things and not forgetting anything, and then adding that value. And then I think just, the confidence level at first when you're first doing it, you're a little shaky. You're nervous what you're going to say. So just continuing pushing, getting out there, because then you get more comfortable in front of people and more confident in the product. You're more familiar with it, and you just know how to use it better.
So would you agree with Rob Jones's statements that the more people you sit in front of, the better you get?
Absolutely. Every client you meet with, if you don't sell to it, you can learn from it.
Right, exactly. And I think that's probably like a common thing for any industry, really. Selling cars, obviously you got to be at the right car dealership to get the right education, and Casey can share with us his information on that. But being at a car dealership, the longer you're there, the more expertise that you get at it, and obviously as long as you're at the right car dealership, you'll get that education that you need from your upper management. But Josh, you with us?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to bounce both of you back and forth real quick. So Ellis, the leads that you get, what are kind of typically the leads that you get from what I mentioned previously in our lead companies?
Yeah, I started with Mailco Leads, and I didn't have much success. And ever since I've been using Equus Leads, I wouldn't mind trying Mailco Leads again. I just haven't yet. So I primarily use Equus Leads, A and B Leads.
Okay. So which of the two, or which have you had most success with? I guess Equus, right? Because that's what you primarily buy.
Yeah, the A Leads, that's where it's at.
Okay. Awesome. Especially being in Florida, you just have they're overflowing the bucket down there. But Okay. So Josh, I want to use you as someone who's basically brand new with this. You've been on 2 appointments. You got a couple coming up. So I wanted you to actually, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here because I didn't prep you for this. I wanted you to ask us a couple questions that you have on your mind, me and Ellis and Casey, if he's on and if he's to where he can actually get to a quiet spot. As a new agent, I want you to ask us any questions that you feel could help you on the appointments. And I want to cover that on this recording.
Okay. Let me think of a couple questions for you.
Like I said, I put you on the spot. So
that's okay.
I know for sure when you're first starting out, getting your goals together, which I actually did with you last week, I believe.
Yes.
And then, making sure that you have your budget in place and your ideas of when you want to hit your goals. As long as all those are put together, really you're ready to go at that point. The big part is just getting your bag together and being prepared, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, yeah. I think
and you've been doing this. You were in a different company doing this for a little while, right?
Yeah, I primarily focused on the commercial insurance sales, new to the life, life mortgage protection side. And I think the biggest difference that I've noticed here, again, this is my first week. I'm just getting out here, getting started this week. Is just the different style. There's to me, I consider them they're kind of short-term sales. I guess the really where I need to train harder. I think anybody coming into it is just learning how to close the sale on the first meeting.
Right. Okay. So, you heard us mentioning the Eric Valdez presentation. Have you had a chance to look at that or listen to it yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So we definitely need to get that in your hands. So that's probably a good question that, we could answer for you is the Eric Valdez recording and presentation basically, and I'll let Ellis explain it some more, but I'll give you the basic. Is basically just a synopsis of why you're sitting in front of them is so important. Am I right, Ellis?
Sorry, I muted it. Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
So you re-asked the question. I was sidetracked. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So basically, we're talking about the Eric Valdez presentation now. I was just trying to see if you could go in a little bit more detail as to what that shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really good. It starts at the beginning kind of explaining who we are at Equus, what our purpose is, trying to protect what's most important in the family. Then it kind of goes through the process a little bit. I think it's really important that the client knows what to expect. Otherwise, they kind of get their own expectations. But if we tell them what to expect, then they're usually more understanding. And then it really goes over the value, like why it's important. So when it comes to that, I just ask them, it's like, well, you sent this in. Why did you send it in? What are you looking to protect or cover? Because then that finds out what's important to them, and you're to work with that.
Right, and most importantly, why you're sitting there.
Exactly.
Like why am I here helping you right now? So,
yeah.
Josh, were you able to come up with any questions?
Right off the top of my head right now, I've got a question right now. Where do I find that presentation recording?
Yep. So definitely what we'll do is after this, we'll send it out. And any new agents that hears this phone call, okay, send an email to Matthew, Matthew, at Rutledge, Rutledge, Insurance Group. Okay, I'm not going to spell those last two words because you should know how to spell it. .com. And so basically what will happen is just say in there, hey, I need that Eric Valdez presentation. I stay on the phone a lot during the day, and I'm answering emails, so generally hitting me with an email is the easiest to get back to you. And so, Josh, what kind of leads was it that you purchased just recently?
Recently I purchased the leads from Equus, and to be honest with you, I didn't know that we had other sources for leads, so that'll be something I'll definitely
That's the reason for phone calls.
Yeah, I would definitely like to get some more information on those. But in my area, I'm in West Virginia, in Harrison County.
Yep.
I believe I only had 5 A leads, and there was about maybe 20 C leads and maybe 2 B leads. So the majority of the leads that I purchased were C leads. And I'll tell you, just from my experience here, making phone calls, for 2 days here, I've gotten more appointments out of the C leads than the others. So those are just as good.
Awesome. Well, if Casey's on the line, I don't know if he's where he can talk real quick. I'm going to let him kind of expound to you, Josh, what he does with Melco.
Okay.
So, you there, Casey?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Melco, you can get 3 to 9 months, 10 to 18 months, 19 to 24-month leads for $3, $1.50. And they're all different. The dollar lead is totally different from the $3 and the $1.50 lead. I primarily, and 99.99% of the time, really only want to deal with the 3 to 9 month leads. So, who am I addressing this to right now? What's his name?
Josh.
Josh, you said you were in. Was it you that had said a few minutes ago this is more of a short-term mindset?
Yeah.
What had you think of that? Was it the fact that it was 12 months in pay?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Well, I think the difference between property and casualty and life is that you have to follow up with your property and casualty clients like every year because there's a heavy potential that they're going to switch.
Yeah, and you're working more like an expiration date. You've got certain time frames, whereas with this, you're meeting with the client, addressing their needs, and providing a product right there in one sitting. So you really the goal
could last 10 years to life.
Yeah.
Right. So, 2 completely different topics. One, it being short term and it being like, a 12-month thing, you get paid on 12 months of premium or whatnot. I like the 3 to 9 months. To be honest, since I started, 7, 8 months ago, this is really the sweet spot. It's going to require more work than A leads, but not quite as much work as obviously $1.50 lead. But you're taking somebody that, 3 to 9 months, either A, they don't waste your time. So they pick up, they've had, 5, 6, 7 people call them, and they decided they don't want it. They have 5, 6, 7 people in their home. They decided they don't want it. Cool. They didn't waste your time. It cost you $3. One and done. That's it. You move on in life. You move on to the next customer. You get that A lead. A lot of A leads don't know what they're sending in. They haven't had somebody come out. There's a bright side to the A leads. You'll get a percentage of those that are ready to buy. They know what it is. They understand what it is, and they want it. So you just got to go sell it. You just clerk the sale. 3 to 9 month leads though through Mailco and LeadCo. Those people that you call and set appointments with, they're either A, they tell you, I've already signed up, I'm not changing it, stop calling me. Cool. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to waste your time going to that house. Number 2, they don't pick up the phone at all. Number 3, they pick up, they say, I've already signed up. A lot of times I'll talk to those people and say, cool, no problem. Tell me the company that you signed up with so I can mark it off here. You wouldn't believe. Within 3 to 9 months of them signing up, I would say almost 100% have no idea what company they just signed up with to pay a monthly premium for the rest of their life. So you ask them, okay, what was the coverage? What was the amount? Oh, wow, I'm sure I can beat that. I tell you, we have, 16 different companies. I've got some really aggressive rates. Just like getting a second opinion from a doctor, it doesn't hurt you. I'm already going to be in the area. Let me drop by. I'll show you some quotes, see if there's anything better for you. Take a step back. There may be, the policy you have may be the best for you. Take a step forward. But I may have something better. If you're going to pay for the next 20, 30, the rest of the years, or the rest of your life, if I can save you $10, $20, $30 a month, obviously that's worth looking at. Okay. Well, all right, look, just tell me, are you going to be in the home, where you can be reached? Morning, afternoon, evening. I mean, that's how my calls go. So when you're talking to 3 to 9 month old customers, probably 1 out of 6 have never actually had somebody call them. Maybe 1 out of 7. They never got somebody to call them and actually have them pick up the phone. So they're like brand new A leads. They just never were talked to.
I was going to say, every once in a while you run into that batch of leads that are 3 to 9 months that were A leads, but the person that purchased them as A leads was a terrible agent, and they just don't know how to write, and then you luckily stumble upon them.
Yeah, holy cow. Matt is speaking on me getting a set of 35 leads that I have inevitably set 20 appointments with, and I had 6 policies on the first batch, 4 or 5 policies on the second batch. I even set them again, the ones I didn't call, set some appointments for Monday, 6 appointments. About 4 or 5 of them were still off of that list, and I sold a policy again. So you're talking 35 3 to 9 month old leads. 35 times $45 is over $1,500. Over $1,500 were spent on these leads. Now I spent $100 and something on them, and turned around and made $3,500 in my pocket the first week, and $1,500 the second week, and $1,000 this week.
It's pretty good investment.
Off of 100 and something.
That's good profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, for any new agents that get a chance to listen to this, it's really the numbers game. And Josh, you know this probably better than some of the other new agents will, but because of what you did before. But the whole gist of the game is sitting in front of as many people as you can. And then obviously with the Eric Valdez presentation, you want to make yourself seem as professional and as knowledgeable as possible. Okay? And what that does is if you can get in front of as many people as you can, let's just say you sit in front of 10 people a week, okay? And you got that Eric Valdez presentation. You actually get into and sit in front of a qualified appointment. A qualified appointment, I mean, if there's two owners or 2 borrowers on the paperwork, both the husband and wife, A qualified appointment is when both of them are actually sitting there, okay? And you're not doing what we call a one-legged appointment where just the husband's there or just the wife's there. Because what's going to happen is if you do an unqualified appointment like that, they're going to say, oh, I need to wait until my husband or wait till my wife's home to make the decision. So out of 10 qualified appointments, using that Eric Valdez presentation, generally you should have about 80% closing rate, which is 8 out of 10. Okay, and so for the numbers portion of it, obviously our average is about $1,000 annual premium per policy, roughly averaged out. And even if you start at a 70% contract level, okay, which not necessarily everybody starts out like that, but if you do start out at our lowest level, okay, we're talking $8,000, all right, with your first nine months of premium, okay. Hang on 1 second, I'm gonna add that up real quick. So 6,000 times your 70%. You're talking at the very least earning $4,200 a week. If you're doing 10 qualified appointments a week, you're talking about making at least $17,000 a month. And you can do 10 appointments in 2 days.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's the best part about that. So, Josh, what was it that said, hey, Equus is kind of where I want to be?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it was Kevin gave me a call. I think he had saw my resume, contacted me, sat down and kind of gave me a brief description of what you guys are about. And really what I saw was the amount of money to be made versus the time investment here. I mean, like you said, you said it's easy to do 10 appointments a week. $4,200 a week, that's a pretty good income. And
that's cash to you. I mean, that's not even including the bonuses you would get from writing that much business. So, for new agents that are listening to this phone call, then you actually get a personal production bonus. If you hit 10,000, you get 1% of what you write. And then there's further on bonuses after that. But as far as I know, at least what I've been told from the ownership and Nick, is that we are the only company that offers a personal production bonus. And on top of that, if you decide that you want to build a business with us and bring on people with you, and you start building an agency, then you get manager's bonuses. And then ultimately, at the top of it all, you get an equity bonus once you hit that $175,000 of issued paid business within your team. You get 0.25% of the entire Equus issued paid business. So, definitely there's, like you said, there's a lot of money to be made. It's going to take you about 12 to 18 months to get there. Okay, nobody wants that. We're in the United States. We think that we're microwave dinner kind of people. We say, hey, let's stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds, heat it up, and we're ready to eat. Right? That's kind of just how our lifestyle is right now in the United States. We want it to happen right now. The best part about working hard for something, though, is I remember a story that somebody told me one time about some mechanics, or not some mechanics, but some assembly line workers at the Ford dealership, the Ford manufacturing plant in Atlanta. He was telling me a story about how one time there was this guy that I guess would pull apart. Okay, this is actually stealing, and ultimately, so this is not the motto around the stealing part, but what happened with the guy. So what happened is he would take a part home like once a week from the assembly line in different areas. And what ended up happening was after 10 years, because, roughly a model only lasts about 10 years. But what happened is as the new model came out, he would take home one piece per week. Okay? And then at the end of the 10 years, he had a fully built car that ultimately, like I said, he stole. But the thing behind it is the fact that he took the time and effort to put it together, and it took him 10 years. But ultimately, he had the car, right? So the moral behind it, not stealing again, but the fact that if you take the time to fine-tune the mechanics behind what you're doing, it's going to pay off, and it's going to pay off big. The best part is we have a good system in place here where you can get off the ground running and making $2,000 a week easy. That's the best part. And I don't know many part-time jobs where, like I said earlier, Ellis only worked like 6 to 10 days in November, and she paid $6,800. So I don't know many places that you can go and work and make that kind of money and only work like 6 to 10 days of the month.